So we were doing about we had done that Bohr model was a failure because certain points could not be explained on the basis of Bohr's model that we had discussed. What? That further splitting of the spectral lines was not clear in Bohr's model. Then Zeeman effect was shown by spectra, that why that effect was there, that was also not explained. So the main reason why it was not able to explain many things was that it was considering only particle nature of the radiation. It did not consider wave nature. The Bohr model was based only on particle nature. So because of this, and we know that not even radiations but matter particles also have dual nature, wave nature as well as particle nature, after studying two principles which we have studied on the last term, that is de Broglie's relationship, and after that we had studied Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. According to that, because of the particle nature which we have seen, that if we want to find out position and velocity of an electron with perfect accuracy simultaneously at the same time, then it is not possible. The reason we had given that if we want to see the position, we want to observe a microscopic particle, then microscopic particles, if they are to be observed, then the wavelength of the light radiation, anything will be visible only when light falls on it, okay, and it will be visible if the wavelength of the light which is falling on it is in the range of the size of particle. For small particles we require small wavelength, okay. So if wavelength is small, then frequency or energy of that radiation will be high, and if energy is high, then because electrons are very light, so they will be displaced from their position as the light will fall on them. So they will be visible but their velocity will change, they will get accelerated because of the energy of radiation will be transferred to electron and it will move from its place. So you can see it where it is present position, you can see, but you cannot know its velocity accurately, because what its velocity was and what its velocity is after the radiation falls on it is different, okay. On the other hand, if you use a longer wavelength, or you can say lesser energy radiation, then in that case it is going to, radiation is having longer wavelength, so the size of particle is small. So because of a small size, the particle will not be visible. So low energy radiation can help us to measure the velocity accurately, but it cannot help to know its size with accuracy or position with accuracy, okay. So this was Heisenberg uncertainty principle, okay. Now when after considering these two facts, now there was a need for a new model which is known as quantum mechanical model, okay. So that is atom, okay, quantum mechanical model of atom, or it is also known as wave mechanical model of atom. Now another scientist whose name was Schrödinger. Schrödinger gave an equation which is known as Schrödinger's wave equation, and he considered both particle as well as wave nature of electron, okay. He considered those two natures together, and including these two natures together, Schrödinger gave a equation known as Schrödinger's wave equation, though practically that equation is of no use to us, okay, because the solution and the understanding of that equation is of very higher classes, not of 11th and 12th classes. But just from where what we are going to study has actually come from, for knowing that only we just come to his equation, what equation he has given, and he gave this equation for hydrogen atom first. So that equation was this whole was known as Schrodinger's wave equation, d square psi upon d square x square, d square psi upon dy square, d square psi upon dz square plus 8 pi square m upon h square e minus v is equal to 0, where this d is for differentiation. In maths you have studied or you will be studying differentiation and integration. Smaller parts, when some equation is divided into smaller parts and those are compiled together, that is known as differentiation. So differentiation psi, I will explain you what it is. X, y and z are the coordinates which he had taken, and h is the Planck's constant, m is the mass of electron, pi is constant, E is the total energy of electron, minus V, that is the potential energy of the electron, is equal to 0. Now I told you that this equation is of no use because we are not going to solve it, only just for knowing it that this equation is known as Schrodinger wave equation, and with the help of this equation he gave the wave mechanical model or quantum mechanical model for electrons. Now according to this, he just said that the very first point or very important point of quantum mechanical model as told by Schrodinger was this, that what according to the previously what in case of Bohr model we had studied, that electrons move in a fixed orbit, okay, around the nucleus, and orbit was a two-dimensional structure, it was not a three-dimensional structure. This was given by Bohr. Now considering this, which uncertainty principle which was given by Heisenberg, he included both the concepts, de Broglie's concept as well as Heisenberg uncertainty principle, to form his new model. And because of Heisenberg uncertainty principle say that it is not possible to know the position and velocity of an electron simultaneously with accuracy. That is why he suggested that the electrons which are moving, because electrons are wave, okay, and electrons are moving, so we cannot define the place where the electron is moving around the nucleus. You cannot say that it is moving in a fixed orbit and this is the path only where the electron will be found. This cannot be said because according to uncertainty principle, what is there? It is not possible to measure accurately the path of the electron, what it is following. Then if we cannot do something with certainty, then definitely it is probability or uncertainty. So he said that you can say that there is probability of finding the electron around the nucleus somewhere here. You cannot exactly define that this is the place where the electron will be present. So instead of fixed orbits, he gave the concept of probability. He said that orbit was replaced by another term, that is orbital, and orbital is a place where there is maximum probability of finding the electron. There is difference between certainty and probability. So he gave the concept of probability. Now according to him, so one thing was this, that he denied the concept of fixed orbits for electron to move. He brought the concept of orbital, and according to that there is always probability of finding an electron around certain area around the nucleus, but you cannot say that this is the fixed path of electron. It is going to move according to that path only. It may be present in that area. This is the concept which he gave. Now, because electron is a wave, so wave means something is moving. You all know about the waves produce water waves also. Water waves are known as matter waves because water is a liquid, and liquid, solid or gas all come in the category of matter. So the waves, when ripples in the water, here visible some waves which we can see. So when we throw something in water, you see waves moving in all directions, three-dimensional. Okay, the water is disturbed in all the three dimensions. Downside also you can see it on the surface also. So when electron is a wave, then Schrodinger said that electron, if it is moving like a wave, so it will also have a wave function. Wave function means what? Psi. This word is actually psi. P-S-I, psi. This what we are writing is wave function. So what actually is wave function? Whenever there is a wave, there will be a wave function. It's not necessary that for wave only there is wave function. When we solve questions, then in mathematics you have seen sine theta. So theta is a function. What is that? Function means something. By putting value in that, you can plot a graph. You have seen that. Sine theta values are given. So with the help of two values, you plot a graph. Same is here, that electron is a wave. If its wave function of that electron is psi, that means what? That psi will help you to give the all possible values for this electron. It will tell everything regarding this electron. So what actually is psi? Psi is a wave function which will give us all information regarding the electron. So we have not to go to its other parts. What main thing we have to remember is this one thing, that the concept of probability was introduced in the quantum mechanical model. Second thing is this, that the psi wave function was, because electron is a wave, so psi wave function was introduced. And what is psi wave function? It gives all information regarding the position, regarding the shape of the orbital where the electron is, all information regarding, just you can say that wave function psi is the address of electron, that where electron is actually present in the atom around the nucleus. Okay. So some main points of this quantum mechanical theory, I will send you the points just to understand, because there is lot 2-3 pages given in the book. They are of no use to us for quantum mechanical model. What we have to remember, that from Bohr model we have switched to quantum mechanical model because of the drawbacks which were present in Bohr model. And definitely when we are switching to a new model, some of those drawbacks should be removed in the new model, at least not all, then at least some. Then only we can accept a new model. So in the new model, what was there? It was considering both the things, that is wave as well as particle nature. So the very first point of this quantum mechanical model was the energy of electron is quantized. Quantized energy is indication of particle nature, that a energy is not flowing in the form of wave, but actually it is coming in the form of packets. So energy of electron is quantized. Okay. And second thing was, electron is a wave, so it has wave function, that is psi. Okay, because it is also a wave nature, so it will have a wave function, that is psi, and it gives all information. Means psi contains all information regarding the availability of electron in the atom. Okay. Third point of it was that because this quantum mechanical model was based on uncertainty principle, because it was based on uncertainty principle. So orbit was declined, means this concept of having a orbit is what? Fixed path around the nucleus where electron is present. The concept of orbit was declined and concept of orbital was introduced. What is orbital? Orbital is a place given to us by, provided to us by psi wave function, because psi will give us the information about electron. So orbital is a place in 3 dimension provided by psi where the probability of finding an electron is maximum. Orbital is not a fixed path. You can say that there is maximum probability of finding a electron, but you cannot say that it is present in this particular path. Okay, so these were the new points which were introduced. Based on this, is this clear, whatever we have discussed by now? Anyone can tell me, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Now, because mathematical part of the equation is not required, only thing what we have to deal with is with the main points of the theory, that what were actually the main points of this new theory. Now according to this, the psi, which is wave function, tells us information about the electron in the form of quantum numbers. To collect the information of an electron from wave function psi, the certain values were given which are named as quantum numbers. Okay, so those quantum numbers were actually assigned N, L, M and S. These were 4 quantum numbers. One by one we have to study about them in detail. These 4 quantum numbers give us the complete information about an electron, that where it is present, in which shell, in which subshell, and all the things. Okay, so these 4 are the set of numbers. So what are quantum numbers? Quantum number are the set of numbers which give complete information about the location of an electron in an atom. Okay, now what is N, what is L, what is M and what is S? Now one more thing, the solution of Schrodinger wave equation, or you can say psi, tells us about this and this. Information about S is not given by psi wave function. Okay, this S is additional information which is 4th quantum number, which is taken separately. But if you are asked that what information is provided by wave function, is about N, about L and about M, not about S. Okay, now one by one we will take these quantum numbers. Okay, first of all, the first quantum number, let us write them here: N, L, M and S. 4 we have to study. Okay, first quantum number is N, known as principal quantum number. The name of this first quantum number, denoted by small n, is principal quantum number. Now what this principal quantum number tells to us? It gives the information about main energy shell. Okay, now the terms which we have been using was orbit, and sometimes orbit we used to call shell also. But now what terms which we are going to use are shell, subshell, orbital. Now we will not use orbit term by mistake also, okay, because that will be wrong to use orbit. Orbital, subshell, shell, these three terms we have to use now. So principal quantum number n gives the information about main energy shell where electron is present. Okay, what does this mean? Again we come to this is nucleus having neutrons plus protons. Now we are making shell around it. This is shell. This is not now orbit. What is the difference between a shell and an orbit? That shell, we are talking about a three-dimensional space. A nucleus is a ball around which the electron can move in all the three dimensions, not in a fixed line or orbit. The imagination of line is just to what? That in a solar system around sun, the earth moves in a fixed orbit. That is a fixed orbit. But here the electron has not fixed orbit. It can move in three dimension. It will be having a path, but that path will be in three dimension. An area or a space around the nucleus where electron can move all around in three dimension. Okay, this is main principal shell where electron can be present. So there can be shells shell number 1, shell number 2, shell number 3, shell number 4, and so on. They are also designated as K, L, M, N. Either we call them as K, L, M, N or 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we write N is equal to 1, N is equal to 2, N is equal to 3, N is equal to 4. Okay. This is something which you can correlate. Shell you can correlate with orbit. Though it is not orbit. I told the difference. We are talking in this case we are talking about 3D. In this case it was about 2D. So they are not same, but they can be correlated. The electrons as were present in orbit, the same way the electrons are present in shell, but in three-dimensional space. Okay. So this is the first thing. Principal quantum number gives the information about the main energy shell where an electron is present. Okay. Now the number of electrons which can be present in principal energy shell or principal quantum number. This is the main energy shell. So the formula which gives the number of electrons in principal energy shell is 2n square. The same which we have been using for Bohr's model. In Bohr's model, orbit, how many electrons are present in a particular orbit was also given by 2n square. So the shell and orbit are giving us the same information, only difference about 2D and 3D. Okay. So what is the difference between the two? This we will come to know as we move ahead. So 2n square, that means what? The first number of shell, this is principal shell, first number of shell can accommodate 2, n is 1 here, 1 square is 1, so 2. Maximum of 2 electrons can be present here. Never more than 2 electrons will be present in which principal energy shell? N is equal to 1, N is equal to 2, that will be having 8. 2 square is 4, 4 2s are 8. 8 electrons maximum can be present in second shell, or you can say L shell. Third number of shell, 3 3s are 9, 9 2s are 18. 18 electrons, 32 electrons, and so on. So the maximum number of electrons in the principal energy shell, starting from the innermost to the outermost, in this manner it go on increasing. Clear? Now the next. Now till now we have never divided the main principal energy shells into subshells, but now we are going to do that. Now after principal quantum number, we come to the next quantum number, that is L. L is known as azimuthal quantum number or angular momentum quantum number. Is it visible till here? Quantum number. Okay. Azimuthal, one name is this. Angular momentum quantum number, second name is this. And third name is subsidiary quantum number. So you should know all the three names and designation also, small l. Okay. Small l is the designation for second number of quantum number. So what the first principal quantum number tells us? It tells us the size of the orbital, or you can say the size of the shell where the electron is present. Or in other words, you can say the main principal shell in which the electron is present. This is told by first quantum number. Okay. Now second quantum number L, what this quantum number tells us? You remember that it tells us about the shapes of orbital. Okay. Shapes we will come later. That is why I was not wishing to write it, but still what information it gives must be known to us. Or you can say L tells us the number of subshells. Now this is the thing on which we need to focus. Shapes of orbital talk later. We will talk later on. Now L tells us actually number of subshells which are present. So now what is subshell? This we have to come to. This is n is equal to 1. This is n is equal to 2. N is equal to 3. N is equal to 4. Now according to the orbit concept given by Bohr and according to the shell which we were studying just now, we had seen that these are main energy shell in which 2 electrons are possible here, 8 here, 18 here and 32 here and so on. But it is not told to us by now that these shells are actually having inside them subshells also. Just like a house visible from outside appears as a complete house, but inside that house you can see there are several rooms. Okay. Similarly, these shells appear to be one from outside, but actually they are made up of several subshells. Now, how many subshells will be present in a particular shell will be given by this quantum number, that is L. Okay. Now 0 to n minus 1. Number of subshells can be given by the value of n by using formula 0 to n minus 1 values will be there. Now what is this? Suppose I talk about shell number 1. So the n here is 1. 0 to n minus 1. 1 n is 1 here. 1 minus 1 is 0. That means the first number of shell will have 0 subshell. That means it is having no subshell. Whatever is the shell is subshell. Suppose a very small house is there made up of only one room. So we can say it has one room and it is also one house. Okay. It is house also and a room also because the house is made up of only one room. Same way, the first number of shell is made up of only one subshell, or you can say only one room. Hence whatever is the shell is also subshell. So you can call it as 0 subshell. Okay. So first number of shell has 0 subshell. Clear? Now n is equal to 2. If I write n is equal to 2, then I can have values 0 to n is 2. Here 2 minus 1. That is 0 to 1. That means 0 and 1. Two values 0 and 1. That means 2 subshells are present in n is equal to 2. Now why we are saying 0 and 1? 0 and 1 values, why? Because these 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. This 0 is not 0. 0 means there is 0 is a subshell also. Means what? In terms of subshells, when this L is taken, we have set the formula 0 to n minus 1. Means 0 subshell to whatever value comes. So this 0 is also a subshell. This 0 is given these numbers which I am writing for this azimuthal quantum number will be converted into some values in alphabet. For 0 is given value S, 1 is given value P, 2 is D, 3 is F, and 4 is G, 5 is H. Though we require only these 4, but G and H are just known to us. Always filling of electron will be over in S, P, D and F. Okay, but now what means this? That actually this L or the azimuthal quantum number has the name of the subshells as S, P, D and F. But we cannot obtain S, P, D and F by mathematical calculation. Mathematical calculation will give us value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have correlated the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to S, P, D and F. Okay. So by mathematical calculation we will get the values, that what are the possible values of L for particular number of shell. And as we get those values, then those values we will correlate with the alphabet. Okay. Letters. So the same thing we are doing here. What we are doing, we said that for n is equal to 1, that means the shell number 1, the values which can be obtained are from 0 to 0. That means only 0 is obtained here, and 0 means what? S. That means in the first number of shell, the subshell which will be present is only S. You can just understand it that a house having one room, and from outside you will call it that it is a house, but there is only one room inside it, and that room, for example, I just said that the S is actually a drawing room or living room. Okay, P is kitchen, then D is bedroom, and F is washroom. Just we have classified as. So what we are saying, that the first number of shell, a first number of house which is made up of only one room is having one room, that room is S room. That S room means it is having only living room. Okay, so for first number of shell there is only one subshell possible, that is S. It will never have more than that. S always will be like this. Clear? Now second number of shell, n is equal to 2. We said that 0 to 2 minus 1, that means 0 to 1, 0 and 1. Okay, so it will have 2, 0 and 1. That means which subshells will be present for it? S and P. That means this will have living room as well as kitchen. Okay. Now similarly, the third shell, n is equal to 3. So we will find value for it. N is equal to 3. Okay. Then 0, 2. That means 0, 1 and 2. It will have 3 values. Third number of shell will have 3 subshells. S, P and D. Because 0 corresponds to S, 1 to P and 2 to D. This we have always to remember, that 0, 1, 2 correspond to S, P and D. Similarly, this n is equal to 4. N is equal to 4 means 0 to 4 minus 1, that is 3. So 0 to 3 means 0, 1, 2 and 3. So this will have 4 subshells, fourth number of shell. Like this, as you just can see, when n is 1, there is only one subshell. When n is 2, there are 2 subshell, S and P. When n is 3, there are 3 subshell, S, P and D. When n is 4, it has 4 subshells, S, P, D and F. When there will be fifth number of shell, it will have 5, S, P, D, F and G. That means the number, whatever is the number of main shell, that many subshells are present. We can conclude like this. Okay, so we need not to remember. We just have a correlation obtained that whatever is a number of main shell, that many number of subshells are present inside it.